There is a rise in awareness, which benefits the trajectory or the journey of awakening, of self-realization, self-discovery. But that's long term. In the short term, it creates a whole lot of chaos and a whole lot of destruction. Because there is one thing in spirituality that is not acknowledged, and that's the divine feminine energy. In very many philosophical texts, spiritual texts, they don't acknowledge the divine feminine energy, the great mother, the creator of 10,000 things. And there are a few philosophies that do, like the Tao Te Ching. That's why I love the yin-yang philosophy. In the Tao Te Ching, he clearly speaks of the great mother, the creator of 10,000 things. And in other theories, some scientific theories, there is this idea of everything is whole. Everything is created in one place. Everything is where we are. Past, present, future is here now. Everything is one. So where are we going? Where are we going? If everything and all there is here now, where are we going? What are we doing? With what intention or purpose are we having those discussions now? Because we're having greater awareness about a patriarchal system and a matriarchal system. And now that men and women both are becoming more aware and they're higher in their awareness, they're now fighting against each other to convince each other of each other's worth. And basically, we have to rise above that. So the trajectory is to go through this journey of heightened awareness. We have no choice to go through this trajectory. And so we also have no choice but to accept that with that comes a lot of destruction. Because the second law of thermodynamics states when energy increases, entropy increases. And as well, the first law of thermodynamics is energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So all the energy that there is already here. So all we're doing with all these heated debates and discussions about who is worth the most is just passing the hot coal from one place to the other place. No, we are better. No, you are better. No, we are better. No, you are better. So it's not getting anywhere. It's just circling in the same place. Thinking you're making progress or thinking we're having intellectual discussions, but we're not having them. Because if the discussion is already coming from a place of incompleteness, if the discussion is already coming from a place of separation, if you cannot take the other as yourself, but you must convince yourself that you are better than other, then the whole conversation already is null and void. It's just a conversation that is just wasting your time. And I see that a lot on social media, just people having these heated debates, wasting their time, instead of getting still, getting quiet, and looking within themselves in order to really find that inner diamond. And so I predict in the next few decades, there is going to come a new type of teacher, is going to emerge. And this teacher is going to speak from a place of wholeness. And because that is so foreign for so many of us, men and women included, because that is so foreign, a lot of people will not even recognize the words when it's spoken. And so we need people who have cultivated very healthy relationships with their family, with their spouses, with their children. And then those type of people need to become whole, need to become one. And now my main focus is predominantly mothers, because I do believe and feel that mothers are the beginning and the end. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And so if we have collectively created a patriarchal society, which I think we can debate, but okay, for the sake of argument, if we have created a patriarchal society where men dominate and rule, these men are born from women. And how have we mothers raised our sons to be? Now, of course, there's a lot of entropy involved. So even if you want to do good, you want to do well, you want to love and nurture and make sure your children are headed in the right direction, we're all still living in the matrix. We're all still subjected to the matrix. And definitely our children are very susceptible to the words spoken from the matrix, from the collective unconscious. And that will play a large role in their upbringing. So that's why right now, in the day and age that we are living in, with men and women having a heightened sense of awareness, we need to really, as mothers, become philosophers, become whole. And mothers who are whole, mothers who are complete, will be able to speak from that place of unconditional love and transfer that level of thinking, transfer that level of energy. So society have made us mothers, and especially us older women, feel that there's no more use for us. Once we fulfill the purpose of bearing the children, and the children are here, our nurturing is not that important. It is not. Society is teaching us that it's not. Society is telling you, give birth to your children, but then dump them as soon as possible in a nursery or with childcare or a babysitter, because you need to be more purposeful. You need to be more useful. You need to go to work. You need to make money. So the nurturing and the caring and the presence of mother's energy is no longer there with our children. And I don't need to tell you the grave consequences of that, because we can see it now all over the world. And so when we become older as women, we finally come to that realization. We finally see and realize what has happened and what we have done. Now, the good thing of being here in the 21st century is that we women are having kids at an older age. Me too. My daughter is like 12. I had her at 32. So this is of tremendous benefit, because I've lived a little. I've traveled the world. I've experienced so much before 32 that I have so much more wisdom to share, so much more to give, and so much more. And I'm probably absolutely able to give her so much more than the 20-year-old me could have given her if I was 20. So this is working in our benefit. We women are becoming older. We women become wiser. We're having children at a later age. Now we can impart that wisdom. And also modern science is keeping us alive longer. So because of modern science, we now get to live a full life and explore and experience everything. We don't go from maiden to wife to mother, and then, 200 years ago, that was it, because you didn't live long enough. So now science has prolonged our life. We are now able to live 80, 100, and science is absolutely trying to make that even longer, to extend that. And if they can figure out a pill, or they can figure out a way to make us live 200 years, they will. So that is very advantageous, because the one thing we cannot renew, we could never renew, was time. And now it seems that we have a second act, from 0 to 40, and from 40 to 80, or 40 to 100. Maybe there is going to be a third act, from 40 to 80, and from 80 to 120. So we've never been here before. And that's why you see all these eloquent speakers and these charismatic speakers coming online now, because they have a heightened awareness and they can see things from a higher perspective, but they're still in that dual state of mind. They're not complete, they're not whole. Having a high level of awareness, even having a high vibration, doesn't make you complete and whole. And it means you will not be able to speak from that place of wholeness. You won't be able to speak from the heart. You're still speaking from ego, from a highly intellectual place. So it sounds like it makes sense. It sounds like it's good advice. But instead of walking ourselves off the cliff now, instead of walking, what we're doing right now is just running ourselves off the cliff as fast as we can, because we're not willing to stand still anymore. We think we have conceptually, intellectually perceived something with our 5 senses, and now we have put in words to it, thinking that that's the truth. Not understanding that we're only halfway the journey. There's still another halfway to go. And the other halfway to go is the unification, is the integration, is the teaching of men and women coming together, united as one, acknowledging each other's power, acknowledging each other's gifts, acknowledging each other's worth here on earth. And as long as we think we need to be against each other, as long as I think I need to convince my husband of my worth by showing him he's worth less, I'm playing a lose-lose situation. I will never win. And as a society, as a whole, we will never win. So I see a lot of people online running their mouth, but a very few offering a solution. But like I said, that's only halfway, because problem and solution, that's halfway, that's duality. Where there's a problem, there's always a solution. But as soon as you solve the problem with a solution, 7 more problems appear. So the people who are going to talk to you from a place of wholeness, they're going to come with the third phase, which is implementation. And it's not just implementation, it's implementation in the right order, in the right sequence. And I don't see a lot of people do that. It's hard to recognize them if you can't understand the words, if you don't know the words of wholeness, if you don't know the words of integration, then it's hard to resonate with words you've never heard before, or an energy you've never encountered before. But I'm positive more and more of those type of teachers are going to come online, because this whole idea of patriarchy and matriarchy has been at play for centuries. And if you really want to study the effects of matriarchy and patriarchy, or left brain and right brain, or the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy, you should read the book The Master and Its Emissary. Because in that book, the author, Dr. Ian McGilchrist, he speaks very clearly that there are decades or centuries where the divine masculine energy rules, and then the polarity switches to the divine feminine energy. And then there is a period in time that the divine feminine energy rules. Now, right brain is seen as more creative, left brain is seen as more logical, more orderly. So in the book, The Master and Its Emissary, he tells you to look at art, how art has evolved over the centuries, and that you can see that there are decades of time where art is more contemporary and it's more straight lines, or where art is more chaotic, right brain, fractal mathematics, fractal art. You could call it fractal art. And so this seesaw is always happening within us. And as long as we live in a third density plane, we will always be subjected to the seesaw. And so that's why Buddhism, Taoism, and other Eastern philosophies speak about the middle path. They speak about standing still in the middle. They speak about presence in the now, because this will always make you feel up or down, good or bad, happy or sad. But it is you standing still here in the middle while this still goes up and down in the third density. And so therefore you need to reconnect yourself to the Great Mother, because the Great Mother is the eternal now. And once we reestablish that connection with the Great Mother, we can see through the lens of wholeness. And so one of my favorite teachers of the past is Nisargadatta Maharaj. And I quote, he said, "The other world is this world rightly seen." So it's all about a perspective shift. But the problem is that shift won't happen unless we go on the whole hero's journey. And in that hero's journey, we will reach heightened states of awareness. And because of it, we will meet the dragon. We come face to face with the dragon. And so that is metaphorically speaking, but in a sense it's also physically speaking. Because as you will rise and as you will become more aware of who you are, you will also be met with more resistance. Second law of thermodynamics: when energy increases, entropy increases. So we got to get through this. We got to get through this by understanding what it feels like to be in alignment, understanding what it feels like to be in the center, what it feels like to be present here in the now. There is a feeling connected to it that you can connect your five senses to. And once you recognize that feeling, once you've tapped into that feeling, you will be able to know then the difference between wholeness and separation, wholeness and when you fluctuate in duality. And that feeling of wholeness, that feeling of presence here in the now needs to be strengthened, needs to become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until duality has no more hold over you. That's when you can be still in the noise. That's when you can see everybody fighting on social media, but you're not bringing it into your household. That's when you see the people in your surrounding doing all kinds of nonsense or damaging things in their life, but you're not bringing it into your household. You're not bringing it into your family. And as a woman, you're going to become so powerful, because once you connect to the Great Mother, you activate the energy of the Divine Feminine. And that will keep her family stable and protected, including her husband, from all the nonsense that is going out there. We need to first ourselves create relationships, dynamic situations, a life that is in alignment first. And once you can create that life that's in alignment, that life where you feel complete and whole, that's when you're going to start to feel comfortable to start speaking publicly. But now I see a lot of women who are hurt and in pain, and they are expressing all that darkness out. But we have no choice. This is the trajectory. It is a purge first of all that darkness until you are empty, until there's no more darkness to spew out. And so what these dark feminine teachers do very intelligently is, because once they've emptied out the darkness within them and there is nothing more, they try to tap into the collective pain of women, into the collective pain of their suffering. And so they're feeding off of your pain. They're feeding off of your energy to fuel them to keep going with spewing their darkness and their negativity and creating more and more and more separation between men and women. But you got to be whole to recognize it. You got to be in alignment yourself to recognize it. Otherwise, you're going to be just sucked in. Have you ever been to the beach and there is this big wave, and when you're like playing in shallow water, the water or the waves doesn't affect you that much. But the more you get into the wave, you go deeper into the ocean, the waves become stronger, and sometimes that wave can like drag you under. That force that will drag you under. I had that one time. I remember a very vivid memory when I was a little girl and my parents took me to the beach. But I was a really great swimmer. I still am. But my dad always wanted me to become a professional swimmer. So we went to the beach, and that exactly happened to me. I was just playing, and my parents trust me in the water because they know I was 10 years old. I'm a professional swimmer. I was doing national championships. So my parents didn't really pay much attention to me. And I remember this one time, the wave was so big and it pushed me down, and I was dragged under. And for a second I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna drown. But luckily I knew how to hold my breath for a long time, and I just went with the flow and then floated back up. But I had to go with this strong force that took me all the way deep down underwater. And so that's what the dark feminine does. She swallows you whole, she takes you in, and then she drags you all the way through. But if you've never learned how to hold your breath, if you've never learned to be a great swimmer, a lot of the women are going to drown. And that's what's happening right now. A lot of women drowning, and they don't understand that they need to become better swimmers. That's what I teach in the Self-Mastery School for Moms. I teach you how to become a better swimmer and understand how to hold your breath, so that when you go through the dark night of the soul, you come out on the other side and float back up. Renewed. So I'm not really against what's happening as far as everybody having all these heated debates and conversations, but I'm not going to put myself in one of them. What I want to do is show you with my words and with my actions what happens if you move through that dark night of the soul but do nothing. Stay still and be quiet and learn how to be a better swimmer and learn how to hold your breath. When you do that, you will go inwards, and there will come a peace and calm that nobody can disturb. And that's the place we need to reach, that inner peace. And once we reach that inner peace, then it don't matter what you listen to. You will naturally know how to navigate, how to move away from people. You will naturally know to let some people in. You will naturally know other people are supposed to be on a distance or are supposed to be over there. But what you will not do is have a negative opinion about anybody or anything, because you know that this life is a gift and that you are here for a reason and that you are here to experience it all. But now you can experience it from a place of inner peace. So that's what I have to offer you.